I have to say is that the contract up there, look, you had your turn to speak. That contract that was negotiated up there, Madam Speaker, was not negotiated by this present Minister of Health. It was negotiated by a previous Minister of Health. And the poor present Minister of Health has flung his hands up in the air. He has given up, and he has said he can do no more.
Madam Speaker,
he can't do anything no more.
On a point of information.
No, I'm not yielding to you, man. You have enough talk. I'm not yielding.
Point in information.
I'm not yielding.
Honourable member, if he does not yield.
I'm not yielding. Sit down. So I'm saying that this good minister has backed off.
Honourable member for Rural North, please.
This good minister has to back off because he has nothing to do with the negotiations. He didn't put that management contract up there. So he's stuck with it. So he has basically given up and thrown his hands up in the air. Madam Speaker, I'm saying the minister is well aware of what's happening up there, though, you know. He's well aware. I understand also that the number of doctors in emergency and operating theatres is often no more than one at a time, Madam Speaker. And that was the problem last week, I was made to learn. The long awaits at the emergency centre, Madam Speaker, that has to change. Will that be continuing into 2012? Are there budget allocations for an increase in the number of emergency room doctors, Madam Speaker? Because I have seen none. I have seen none. And the liability that will attach as a consequence of any negligent death, you don't want me to mention any case, whether it's a 22-year-old woman or older person, it will exceed many times the cost over hiring additional competent medical doctors. So let them put it in the budget and fund you to bring in proper doctors and adequate enough for the emergency and the operating rooms. Madam Speaker, can I address the state of the Param clinic, of the clinic in Param now, Madam Speaker? You don't know the amount of people dying up there every day like flies.
Honourable member, honourable members.
Madam Speaker, can I address the state of the clinic, the health clinic in Param? The amount of grass and vegetation mix getting to the clinic whenever rain falls, Madam Speaker. A threat to the well-being of expectant mothers, to the elderly and even the professionals who work there. They complain every day. The place is surrounded by high bush. No time about no rain coming. Because it's bush all year round because the clinic is in Param. The private contractor used to keep the grass cut has been fired now, Madam Speaker. Now the growth is beyond reasonable. The building itself is in poor shape. It leaks. Water come down and wet down the nurses and the patients. I had the district nurse in my office on Thursday last week, complaining. Not even a Doppler the ministry will buy, so that they can sound the heart of the babies. The supplies are non-existent. The monthly supply of cleaning fluids, just like Clorox and other necessities, are so inadequate that donations must be sought. The medical supplies to enable assessment of the patient's health are woefully lacking. When will the Param clinic be treated as though it is responsible for ensuring good health? The people up there must not be victimized. Madam Speaker, healthcare is important not just for Mount St. John, but in all the urban districts, and all the district clinics are equally as important. Madam Speaker, the young men and women who utilize the basketball court and sporting facilities in Param, we now have to confront cassie trees. Cassie trees growing all in the middle of the court. That they can't even play basketball. They won't clean it, they fire the people. The bathrooms don't work. It's not right. The whole place is overgrown with unwanted vegetation. I want to ask the Minister of Sports and Minister of Public Works, or whichever ministry is in charge, when will the fenced sporting fields in Param and Pays and the bathroom facilities receive attention? In fact, the basketball court in Piers that dug it up 7 years ago, gave it a private contractor, never fixed it back. So for 7 years, those young people can't play basketball in Piers. How can that be right? And there's 2 lights on the Piers football field. 2! And I have to go in my pocket and buy lights every year because this government refused. The only 2 fields they refuse to cut is Parham Field and Piers football field. They don't cut yours? Well, you pick up the phone, you have contacts. I'm in opposition. You can get it cut for free. Madam Speaker, I want to know now that the contractors and others have made their millions on building fences all over the country. Can we have some follow-up on the maintenance of these sporting facilities, these playing fields? The places are a threat to the well-being of the users. So what's the sense of going and spending $50 million on these playing fields and they have no follow-up? Madam Speaker, I realize that there will be very little infrastructural development and a very little infrastructure work for 2012. Because we heard from the Minister of Public Works, the Honourable Member from Barbuda, that money for patching up streets will be spent sparingly. And he sounded very happy. He sounded very content. He was not even fighting for more money. In 2012, a sum of $2.5 million has been budgeted to maintain roads and streets and drains all around Antigua and Barbuda. Madam Speaker, $2.5 million? $2.5 million, that sum cannot even repair the roads in Parham, in Painters, in Gunthrops, Lightfoot West, and Piers. Imagine Public Works has a budget of $2.5 million for road repairs all across Antigua and Barbuda. It's a joke. It's ludicrous. Can't be serious. I mean, go to page 308 of the budget estimates, item 36010, and you see it. The amount in 2010 was insufficient. Everyone knows that. And the amount for 2012 is sorely inadequate. It is not enough, not sufficient, not nearly adequate. And Madam Speaker, the truth is, as soon as there's a little rainfall, huge craters appear all over Antigua roads, destroying our cars, our taxi driver buses, our pickups, the shocks, the buses, the vans. And let me not even speak about the residents, because I feel so shame and sorry for them in Lightfoot West and in Gunthrops and in Painters. They invited me and Senator Joanne Messiah to a meeting about 2 weeks ago. They signed petition to the Minister of Public Works. But he has to be the most uncaring Minister of Public Works that I've ever seen. At least when the Honourable Member for St. Philip's South was there, he would listen to you and he would give instructions and send out his men. This one don't care. He don't care. He don't care. I mean, and he just give lip service to the people, and the residents are being told by my opponent in a meeting with me, but why don't you throw up a little $20 each one of you all every month to buy oil and diesel so we can put in your weed whackers and clean the sides of the roads. Self-help. So the people up there don't pay taxes. I mean, Madam Speaker, you realize for 7 years the people of St. Peter's has been victimized. No roads, no sidewalk cleaning, no cleaning of the gutters. I mean, a private individual have to take his truck because he have water trucks and wash down all the gutters in Piers from the stench. I mean, it's not right. Not right, Madam Speaker. It's not right. Some roads in Lightfoot and Gunthrops and Painters, you can't cross them. But they pay their fair share of taxes, land. I fixed roads all over this country. I was the best Minister of Public Works. I empowered 80 young men in this country. Each one of those 80 men employ nearly 60 people, putting better than yours, jelly bean. Proper sidewalks we built, and we empowered people. That's what the Antigua Labour Party did. We employed 80 small petty contractors, each of them employing another 40, 50 people each week. And that is what the minister, the good member for St. John City West, have been telling you all. You have to jumpstart the economy even with small things like that to create employment, create civic pride in the country. You know what you all did when you all came to office? You all fire all them 80 petty contractors and you all give a few people who have them big machines that clean the side of the roads. The big machine that clean the side of the roads. The big machines like what Hani and them having a few people, Hani Soul is. And you all displace those little people that were doing it with their cutlass and with their weed whacker. Come on! So you displaced nearly 80 small contractors who employed other people. Maybe 400 or 500 people were employed and hired 10 small contractors with them things. Can't be right. Madam Speaker, but I could continue all day with example after example. Like the 30 tourism projects announced by the Minister of Tourism. And we have not seen one single tourism project. Like the projects coming but they can never reach. Like the wealthy individuals who have more money than Alan Stanford that the Prime Minister told us he has to invest. Sure, in La La Land fantasy. At best, they ruin a nation. Like the mistaken view, Madam Speaker, that Venezuela will be our new godfather. Like Trinidad and Eric Williams was in the 1970s. Hugo Chavez is the new godfather of these Alba signing countries. A nation reels on the incompetence, Madam Speaker. We need new elections, Madam Speaker. We need a new mandate. It is time for the music to stop. Time for the fat cats to get off the gravy train. The people can take it no longer. So when the Minister of Finance, the Honourable Member for St. John City East, signs this new IMF agreement and introduces new taxes in 2012, because more taxes are there to come, Madam Speaker. New misery. It will be for the time, a time for the people to move. It will be time for the people to chase this government out of town, Madam Speaker. This administration needs a new mandate. The people of Antigua and Barbuda need to be given a new opportunity to determine if this administration is likely to deliver prosperity and to lead the nation out of the doldrums. Because we are in the doldrums. I've never seen it so bad. In all likelihood, the Antigua and Barbuda electorate, given the opportunity, will vote no. For this very reason, Madam Speaker, the regime will not go to the polls. Further, it has done its best recently to fix the Electoral Commission in a way that would compel a skewed result at the next polls. We must resist this. We will resist it on this side. Aren't we taking this issue before the courts? We already have 3 opinions from legal luminary, Queen's Counsel, that those amendments to the Representation of the People Act, Madam Speaker, they are outlandish and clearly unconstitutional. But in all seriousness, Madam Speaker, as my time comes to near a close, I have more time, Madam Speaker.
You have 15 more minutes.
15? I don't want to speak for so long, Madam Speaker. The minister here, the representative, and we have the leader there is going to speak. But our nation is at a crossroad. Our nation is at a crossroad, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I know they spoke. I heard him speak very eloquently last night and put some serious... No, I said he already spoke already. And Gaston is going to speak. You worry about when you have to speak. You're going to speak next. Are you going to announce to this nation you're coming on this side, or are you still staying over there? I hope this is going to be a seminal speech in the history of this parliament. But Madam Speaker, in all seriousness, our nation is at a crossroad. We'll either sink from incompetence while we ponder which route to take, or we'll assume in our anti-democratic ways of our own government. The people must decide. And I pray, Madam Speaker, that we decide soon to take the best course which history has appointed. Madam Speaker, I had walked, but you said you don't want me to speak on the medical thing at the hospital. But I had walked with this magazine just to read an excerpt, if you would allow me, but I should have done it when I was speaking about Mount St. John.